guys, today we are talking about Pilates and back pain. I've got an awesome routine for you that is great for any type of back pain that's caused by tightness, poor core strength, or even something like sitting around all day working from home. And I'm betting that you aren't either. Statistics show that about 80% of Americans will experience some type of chronic back pain or injury in their lifetime. It is estimated that Americans spend almost $150 billion a year on back pain, injury, and treatment alone. What? And on top of that, back pain is also the #1 reason why Americans miss work. So I'm here to tell you that Pilates is a lot cheaper than back surgery. Pilates is definitely a lot more fun than back surgery. And Pilates is really great for helping you out with those everyday ouchies, strains, and pulls that you get from sitting down all day and then getting up and like chasing your 2-year-old down the hallway. Please keep in mind that if you have an acute injury, if you've been diagnosed by a medical professional, make sure that you've been okay to exercise before you do any of these things. And if you have not been diagnosed by a medical professional, if you just have some low back pain tightness or mid back pain tightness that's causing you pain, you know what? Your body is telling you that you need to do something about it, so you're in the right place. With all that said, let's get moving. Let's do this thing. Okay, so just starting with the basics here, we want to kind of learn a little bit about the spine and its positions before we even get into really exercising. And this will really help you to determine what's going to help you with the back pain that you have going on in your body. So we'll start on all fours in a quadruped position. So when you're here, you want to make sure that your wrists are right in line with your shoulders and your knees are right underneath your hips. And I want you to just look up at the ceiling and arch your back, sticking your tailbone out. So this is what we call extension of the spine. This is an arched back position. And then we're just gonna draw the chin down towards the chest, pull your abdominals in and round the spine, coming into a C curve. And this is your spinal flexion here. So we'll just go in between these 2 points, arching the back and then rounding the back. Arching the back and rounding the back. And if you feel like your back is tight in one or both of these positions, it's just kind of something to notice. So the more you loosen up those muscles and regain that flexibility in your spine, the more likely you are to be, pain-free. So we'll just keep that going here, rounding and arching. And as you do this, pay attention to where it's tight or where you feel pain. And if you have sharp pain, don't go there, just make it smaller. Keep pulling your abdominals in. Think belly button to spine here, just for that extra abdominal support. So let's go into the arch and hold it here and just kind of take note of how this feels. Take a breath in and out, and then round your spine, coming into that C curve. Take a breath in and out. And now from here, we'll come into a flat back position or a neutral spine position. So you're finding kind of the middle between the arch and the round, just kind of settling in here. And then those abdominals are still pulling in for support. And just kind of feel how that feels. This is the position basically that we want our spine to be in, the position that is safe and healthy when we're standing, when we're lying down, when we're seated. So let's play with that a little bit, lying down on your back. So let's place the feet on the mat, feet stepping on the mat, legs about hip width distance apart. You can go ahead and press your palms down. And now I want you to just arch your low back and keep everything else kind of neutral. So as you can see, there's like lots of space in between my low back and the mat here. And my tailbone is sticking out into the mat. Now see if you can pull your abdominals in this position. And then go ahead and just reverse that, taking your spine into flexion now, rounding into a C curve in the low spine. And for me, my tailbone comes off the mat here, and there's no space whatsoever. So this is what we call an imprinted spine in Pilates. And we'll just move in between those two positions, going into your arch, and then rounding and flattening into that flat spine. And we go again, into the arch, and into the round spine. Keep that going. And start to notice what muscles are activating. So it's those low abdominals, and my feet pressing into the mat, hamstrings, my butt squeezes, then I let it all go to arch that spine. And again, here, we're just noticing the positions, noticing the difference, noticing the sensation, you know, what hurts, what doesn't. Maybe for most of you, this should probably feel pretty good because we're getting movement in a space of the spine, you know, that doesn't usually get to move evenly in both directions like this. So this might be loosening up some things for you and feeling good. Also, we're strengthening the core and working the glutes and the hamstrings as well. So we'll go about 5 more. And 4. Just move it as much as you can. Make it big. 3. Last 2. And 1. Good. All right, now go ahead and settle into your neutral spine. Now this, you probably have a little bit of space in between the mat and your low back because we have a natural curve there. And make sure it's not too much. If you're sticking those ribs out, then you would like fit your whole arm under there like I can. But from here, just pull it down, knit your ribs down, lift your abdominals, and then just think of everything just reaching out towards your heels. We're just kind of neutral and settled. Yeah, so that's kind of where we want to be. And if you need to do a couple more to kind of get in there and really feel like how you settle in the center of those two positions, go ahead and do that. So now we're gonna start strengthening the core, because a lot of times back pain is because your back is overworking and your core is not strong enough. So these next few exercises are going to be just for strengthening the core in different positions. So next we'll walk the feet together, knees together, and then go ahead and do an upper ab curl, reaching your arms forward. Eyes are on the belly button here, and the belly button is pulling down tight into your spine. And now make sure you're still in that neutral back. You're not arching, you're not rounding, you're just kind of settled through this rib cage to tailbone. It's all kind of normal. You're just curling up from that upper body. And then just reach those arms, and we'll hold. Keep holding, keep pulling the waist in. And we'll start to engage in those abdominals to strengthen them. And make sure you're breathing in this position. And if you start to feel tightness in your neck, just try to relax those shoulders and look right down at your belly button. And go ahead and lower down for a moment. And again, lift up, curling up, hold it, 3, 2, 1, and then lower down we'll go. 1 more, curling up, holding, 3, get those abs to engage, 2, 1, and then send it down. Next, we'll do the 100 in this position. Squeeze those inner thighs, curl up, eyes on abs, and now begin to pump your arms vigorously up and down. Breathing in and breathing out for 5. In for 5 and out for 5. And you might start to feel your abs working hard here. That's the goal, is to just get some blood circulating and get those abdominals working while you stabilize through the rest of the body. These arms are pumping and the abs are holding you steady. Breathe in and breathe out and pull the belly button into your spine. 3 more times. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale and exhale. Now hold your position. Burn it out a little bit more. Keep pulling those abs in. Ooh, they're working hard. And then go ahead and lower down. Look from side to side. And then let's rock and roll up to sit. Next, we'll do some half roll downs to really get those low abdominals engaged with the upper abdominals. So feet step on the mat. Let's go inner thighs together, just keep it clean. Your hands can settle softly in between or underneath the thighs. So now we'll round the spine here. And tip yourself backward, keeping your feet planted down onto the mat. And you'll go back to your point of control. I like to think waistband to really challenge myself. Can I get the waistband of my pants on the mat? And as you can see, we are in a C curve. So we're in that spinal flexion, which really helps to engage the abdominals, which really helps to strengthen them. Hold this position and just keep holding. So these abs are probably gonna burn, and that's a good thing. Just make sure you're lifting your belly button in and up and keeping your shoulders relaxed, chest open. I'm gonna go ahead and round forward, using those abdominals to take you up, and then come into a flat back position. Now round your spine again. Feel how that C curve maybe stretches and opens your back. It opens the back of your rib cage, it opens your low back into a nice stretch. And maybe go a little bit further than you did before. Hold it. Breathing, abdominals pulling in. Now go ahead and round a little bit more here, and then pull your abdominals in to make your way up. Lift up really tall through your spine. Let's do 3 more. Round the spine. Going backward. Abdominals pull in, they pull in, they pull in. Hold for 3. Hold for 2. Hold for 1. And then exhale over. And lift up tall through your spine. And again, round and take it back. Pull those abs in a little bit deeper. Go a little bit further, really challenge yourself. Maybe you feel like you're gonna fall backward on the mat. That's okay, hold it. 3, hold it, 2, and 1, and take it back up. Lift tall into a tall flat spine, and then round. One last time here, taking it backward. Holding 3, holding 2, round a little bit more, and then exhale over for 1. Go ahead and sit tall. Next, we're gonna take the legs in a wide stance position. So I like to move the spine in all of its different directions to really help loosen it up. Now, as I said before, if you have an acute back injury, some of these positions might not be good for you, so make sure you check with your doctor before you do them. So we're gonna take the hands behind the head and lift up tall through the spine. Now my legs are apart a little bit wider than my shoulders, and I'm just reaching the nape of my neck back into my hands, keeping those elbows wide. And now just sit as tall as you can, and then pull your abdominals in. And you might even feel like a nice opening or a stretch in that upper back, because we don't always sit super tall. It might feel like work, right? So just work on that. Lift up. Lift up, lift up, and then relax everything. Whew. And then we'll do that again. Hands behind the back of the head. And now just push the nape of your neck back so that you're really lengthening out through the crown of the head here, getting taller. Holding and lifting 3, 2, 1, and then relaxing. And we take it again. Lift up really tall. Hold it and lift. 3, belly in. 2, 1, and then relax down. All right, so now we'll take that tall spine position and move it. So we're gonna take it up and over to the right in a side bend position. So now as you do this, you might start to feel that left side stretching. Make sure your hip doesn't come off the mat, because we want the movement to come from the spine. So pull that hip down into the floor and work that stretch. And we'll keep it dynamic, lifting the spine tall in the center to go over to the left. Reaching out and reaching over. Feels so good. This is called lateral flexion, these side bending actions. So this is the spine reaching from side to side. Let's go over to the right again. Abdominals in, trying to move the spine in all of its planes of movement to get it loosened up, get it flexible. We're also working our obliques here, or our side abs, getting them to work and strengthening them to help support our back while we sit, while we stand, while we run, while we lift weights. It's all good. And up. And then we'll take it over to the left one more time. Working that stretch, make sure your elbows are wide and you're still lengthening and looking up a little bit so that you're not slouching while you do this. Keep it straight up and down, and then bring it into the center. Good. From here, we'll take the arms out to the side. Stay lifted tall, and then take a twist over to your right. So now we're working that twist in the spine. And as you do this, keep your hips from moving. So you don't want to reach those hips over like that. Keep them square so those feet shouldn't move where they are in space. Just twist. And then untwist, find center. Let's go left, big twist. Still staying as tall as you can here. And center. You might feel your upper back working as you do this. It's all good. Twist it. And center. And twist it. And center. Now let's add some flexion in your twist. So we'll twist and dive over. This is called the saw. So we'll saw off that pinky toe that you're reaching for with your pinky finger. Make sure those hips don't move. And now come all the way up, rolling up through your spine and untwist. Then we'll go to the left and saw off the pinky toe, pulling your waist in, reaching over, over, over. Come all the way up and untwist. Let's go right side again. Big twist and dive. Reaching over, all the way up, untwist, and then the left side, last time. Saw off that pinky toe, reach, and come all the way up, and untwist, relax your arms down. This might feel like a lot of work and not feel awesome on your back, but I promise it'll make your back feel great when we're done. So now we're gonna flip over to the stomach, where we go into some extension. So that's the last movement. We've done our flexion, the rounding, the side to side, your lateral flexion, and then the flexion, and then your twisting, rotation. So now the last thing we need to do is arch the back to get it to move in all the ways your back is supposed to move. So if we have tight low backs, let's go legs about the width of your mat apart, or just a little bit wider than hip width distance. And I want you to walk your hands out to a little bit wider than shoulder, so you're kind of lifting your chest forward, and then just go ahead and bend your elbows. You want to have bent elbows to the side as you do this, and then just lower your forehead down about 1 inch off the mat. Go ahead and shake your hips from side to side just to loosen up that low back. And then squeeze your butt to push your hip bones down into the mat. So your legs are long, your butt is squeezing tight. Now tent your fingers, spider tent fingers, and now push into those fingers until you're up in straight arms and that chest is lifted. Yeah, and then you're looking up just slightly, not crunching the neck back, but keeping it in line with your spine. And now this is kind of like your point of control thing, so you don't go too far if it doesn't feel good. And then just slowly start to melt down. Think of reaching your chest forward as you lower, 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 and go again. Tent those fingers, press up. Lift in the chest and make sure your abdominals are pulling in along with that squeeze of the glutes, squeeze of the butt to keep your spine supported. And then go ahead and lower down, down, down. Now, if you want to go a little bit higher up, if you feel like you have the flexibility and this feels really good on your back, walk your hands in closer so you can get a little bit higher up. And then lower yourself down, reaching that chest forward. 2 more times. Press up. And lower it down, down, and down. 1 more time. Push to lift up. Keep the chest open and then lower down, down, and down. Now go ahead and reach your arms out by your ears. From here, we'll keep the chest up and lift the legs up as high as you can. So now you'll feel everything in your back body engaged. The backs of the arms, the low back, the upper back, the glutes and the hamstrings. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, just strengthening all of those back muscles. 2, 1, and then lower yourself down. From there, push yourself back onto your heels, round out your spine, and stretch all the way backward into a child's pose to get that nice counter stretch. And you can wag your tail from side to side. Feels pretty good. Whew. And now let's walk the fingertips all the way over to the right in this position. Just to get a little bit more sideways flexion, stretching out the side body. And then walk them all the way over to the left to stretch. Good, and now find it back in center and just relax down for a moment. One big breath in and exhale. All right, now go ahead and make your way lying down on your back for some shoulder bridge. So we're gonna come back to the back in the center of your mat, feet on the mat here. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Now, glute bridges. From here, you push into the feet, curl your tailbone under, and work on articulating your spine all the way up so that your hips are up to the ceiling. And now you want to think of really engaging in the backs of the legs because we want those glutes and hamstrings to help support our back as well as the abdominals. So we're working on strengthening those too. So we'll roll it down, upper back, middle back, lower back. And just enjoy that articulation, the feeling of rolling your spine up off the mat, squeezing that butt, sending those hips up, and then enjoy it as you roll down all the way. And just make sure your shoulders are relaxed, your neck is long. You're pushing slightly into the arms to keep the chest open. Pilates is always full body, even though we're working on eliminating that back pain from our day-to-day lives. Let's curl that tailbone under and lift off one more time. Hips high to the sky, and then melt it all the way down with control. Now go ahead and walk your feet out like heel toe one time, so not too wide. And we're just gonna do a little bit of rocking the boat to continue to loosen up that low back. This tight low back is so common. Pretty much everyone I know has a tight low back, so we'll push in to those legs, into the feet to lift your hips up. And now while we're up here, I want you to make sure that your rib cage is down, that you're not splaying that rib cage up into the ceiling, but that you're just putting those ribs away. Put the ribs, keep them in jail. All right, so we're gonna now just lift your right hip bone a little bit higher than your left hip bone. So I like to think of my hips kind of as two ends of a canoe. And we're just rocking in the water from side to side. Now the left hip lifts higher, right hip lifts higher. And what you're doing is kind of just twisting, doing some pelvic rotation here and twisting in that low back just to like loosen it up a little bit. And you'll feel the butt working, the hamstrings working too. So you feel that extra burn. And I want you to, as you do this, think of the knees and the legs not moving too much. It's really kind of a small movement. So that left side lifts, that right side lifts, the left side lifts, the right side lifts. It's kind of like you're doing a little dance with those hips. Pretty good. Now go ahead and quiet that down, find center, and then melt down to the bottoms. Give your legs a little rest. And I go again, all the way up. Hips up, belly in, ribs down. Put those ribs in jail. And then go ahead and melt down about 2 inches. So my upper back is a little bit on the mat. My hips are a little bit lower. And we'll start rocking the boat from side to side. Rock that boat, rock the boat, rock the boat. And this isn't like full-on classical Pilates. It's just a little variation of our classic shoulder bridge, just to give us a little bit more of that rotation and hamstring. I'm even feeling my inner thighs. It's pretty good. And the abs, of course, are still on. Just working that nice, lovely twist. Rocking the boat to open up that low back. Now go ahead and melt it all the way down. We'll do it one more time. Push all the way up. Melt down about halfway. So now my bottom ribs are on the mat and I'm rocking the boat from side to side. The abs are still tight. I'm just thinking of right hip bone higher than left hip bone higher, right hip bone higher than left hip bone higher. 3 more. 2, 1. Center. And then melt down all the way. Hug your knees into your chest for a quick sec. Good. Now put your left foot on the floor, hands right behind the back of the thigh. We'll just do a couple of dynamic stretches here. So when backs are tight, hamstrings and hips are often tight as well. So we'll just work on opening those up a little bit. So I want you to just bend and stretch that right leg. And if it's out here, that's totally fine. If you can't straighten it all the way, that's totally fine. Just keep working towards that range of motion. Elbows bend to the side to help you. And we're in that neutral spine like we practiced earlier. Good, now go ahead and stretch that leg all the way up to the ceiling and hold it. Pull it in towards you if you want a deeper stretch in the back of the thigh. And then you can point and flex that foot. Just giving it a little bit of extra love. Maybe roll that ankle in a circle. Good. And then send it all the way down to the floor. And we'll stretch the hamstring out on the left side. Left knee pulls into the chest, right foot on the floor. Extend the leg out and bend it in. Let's go about 3 more here. And you can point and flex the foot, or you can just leave it in like a neutral foot, or what I like to call like a Barbie doll foot. You still have energy, but it's not point or flex. It's kind of like a Barbie doll. Good. And then to reach that leg up, hold it. And then you can point and flex the toe. If your hamstrings are really tight, you might feel an extra stretch up here in that shin. And then go ahead and send that leg down. Now let's take the right leg. We're gonna flex the foot, cross that ankle over the left knee, and then just let the thigh open. And now pull both legs in towards you and grab on to that left thigh. This is your number 4 stretch. And you'll feel as you pull that thigh in towards you, your right butt cheek and hip opening up. Just pull it in. 3 deep breaths, keeping the shoulders relaxed, keeping the breath flowing to open up those hips. Just eliminating that hip tightness a little bit, which can help out tight backs, which causes back pain tremendously. It's all connected. Then go ahead and let that go. We'll pick that left leg up, flex the foot, cross the ankle over the knee, turning the knee to the side, and then pull both thighs in towards you. You can take those hands behind the right thigh and pull it in towards you. Just working that stretch. You can rock it from side to side too. You might feel the sensation of the stretch move in your hip to the outside and to the inside when you do that. Just working nice and easy. And if you have any pain, just back off on that stretch. Listen to your body. Good. And then go ahead and let that go. All right, from there, rock and roll up to sit. We're gonna end with a couple of things standing to get your spine nice and tall and lifted and ready to go. All right, so now we're up, standing, and against a flat wall. So for this one, let's step forward about one length of your own feet off of the wall so that you can lean back against it. And we'll stand in Pilates stance with the heels together and the toes slightly apart. So now we'll take the palms and press them against the wall. And we're gonna work on that flat back again. So I want you to tuck your pelvis under and pull your belly in and press your low back into the mat. So this is not our neutral spine. It's not really our rounded spine, but it's almost working into that round spine position so we can flatten the whole spine against the wall. And I want you to just press your arms back as well, and then press the back of your head back. And for me, I need to soften my knees to get into this flat back position. Do whatever you need to do. If they can be straight for you, that's great. So, and we'll just keep pulling the low belly in and keep everything really flat. And now I want you with all your might to shrink wrap that spine against the wall and press it against the wall as much as you can for 5. Pressing 4, 3, and this is just helping you elongate and lengthen, finding length in between each vertebrae in the spine. For 2, for 1, and then relax. And we'll do that again. Press the arms, press the back of the head and the back of the neck against the wall. For 5, for 4, 3, abdominals pulling in tight, 2, 1, and then let it go. 1 more. Lift everything into that wall and press for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now from here, let's press against the wall. Make sure you're nice and flat. From here, I want you to first just relax your arms. So my spine is still straight up against that wall. My arms are just relaxing. You can give them a little shake and get them really heavy. Think of having like 100-pound weights on your fingertips. And I will just drop your chin down. And then start to peel your shoulders off the wall and your upper back, but keep your lowest rib and your low belly and your low back still on the wall. So you're kind of hanging down, almost as if there's a bar over your breastbone and you're just kind of hanging over that bar. Drop your head heavy, shake it all out. You might feel a stretch in your upper back. So think of someone pulling you like a string from your upper back up towards the ceiling to stretch out those muscles. And then let your shoulders kind of dangle and hang off your back. Heavy arms. Let's do some circles. Think ragdoll circles. And then go ahead and reverse those circles. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Arms are nice and still. Go ahead and roll yourself all the way up. Tall against that wall. You can press your arms against the wall, working that posture, strengthening your back and strengthening your powerhouse, strengthening those abs. Woo. All right, and then go ahead and push yourself up against the wall to stand tall, and you are all done. You made it through your little Pilates and back pain workout routine today. Pilates and back pain today. I hope that you're feeling a little bit more taller. I hope your spine is feeling a little bit more loosey-goosey like mine is. If you have any questions or comments about back pain or Pilates at all, feel free to drop them in the comments below, or you can shoot me a DM on Instagram at Terriell Samuels. Link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. If you got a good workout, if you had fun, if you learned something, hit like, hit subscribe, and I will see you on the mat next time.